Hey everybody, I'm Lex.
I'm Jordan at PTQ.com.
Hey, today we are going to be discussing monitoring systems on your network. For example, servers, services on servers, processes.
Memory utilization.
Oh yeah, memory utilization. Just a ton of things that, as sysadmins, okay, let's just admit it, right? People have been asking, can you do this? And we finally figured out how to do it. So
Thanks to the help of our customers.
that is true. That is very true. So Jordan, should we jump in and just kind of talk about what we're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're using the PowerShell scanner to get this one, and we're just starting off with a quick command binding for services. That's just in case you want to monitor multiple services, not just one. That's where the extra square brackets comes from. That means it accepts an array.
Can I just add something? Guys,
Yep.
this isn't bonus content, so it's probably easy for you to read along, grab it, and, sorry to interrupt.
No, it's absolutely. All right, and here we see my continued struggle with naming variables. HT stands for hash table.
Is that what that stands for?
Yeah, but I know
I thought it was hot and tasty, but
It's really frowned upon in PowerShell. They want the variables to make sense, just like the commands make sense. They want the variables to make sense, and I'm so bad at it. I will spend more time trying to think of a variable name than writing the code.
yeah, I understand that after what we did yesterday. So
All right, and then we're just grabbing just various information. So the first thing we're grabbing is the date time. That's just so you know when the scan ran. So if it hasn't been running for some reason, you can see that, so you're not getting up-to-date information. And then it's just going to go for each one. So the first thing is services, and we're defining that in a variable in inventory. And anything that's in the
go ahead.
anything you put in that inventory, it's going to grab the service. It'll tell you if it's running. That's all I'm grabbing on this one, is if it's running, but you can grab more if you wanted.
Now the nice thing about that variable is you can add services as you want.
Yeah.
Just
So
define them with a comma, or divide them, separate them.
Yeah,
What's the word I'm looking for?
separate with a comma.
Separate
Yep.
with a comma.
All right, and then so it's just be a quick rundown, because I don't think anyone cares about the behind how it works information. Is how it all works together.
Yeah.
So all we're doing is I'm coming in and running the common ways to grab this type of information from the machine. I am struggling to talk today. I don't know if you're fine with that. And then I'm adding it to the hash table. And the reason I'm doing a hash table is because at the very top here I specified it as ordered.
Okay.
Ordered means it's going to keep the order that you added in there is how it's going to print out.
Okay.
Where without that, there's no real rhyme or reason. It's just going to throw it up there. So it actually changes it from a hash table to an ordered dictionary, but that's just, they act the same. The name's just different.
Right over my head, man. But okay, so it puts it out ordered.
Ordered, yep.
Okay.
And so we're going in, and then for things like physical disk or logical drive, where there might be more than one, we can't just say grab the logical drive. We have to say for each and create it. That way you can specify, disk 1 and disk 0, disk 1, and you're getting the different
So if the physical is
information.
broken up,
Yeah.
we've got, okay, excellent.
Same logical. So it's kind of dynamically creating based on all that information, instead of having to put it in there static, because your environment's most likely not static. All right, and then the last one is the memory. This is where we're grabbing, I guess, how much memory you have, how much is being used, and basically your percentage of free of the utilization. And then we're putting everything in that hash table, and we're casting it to a custom object.
The interesting thing about this, right? I mean, when it orders this and it makes it's one long string, right? And the reason I think we came up with we thought, well, we could do this in different scanners, right? But then I got to look in different places for this information. So building collections and that, I now have to jump around as opposed to go to one spot for it. So it may be hard to read with the eyes, but coding wise and using it on the back end, significantly easier. Now you can add more to this, right? I mean, that's kind of what that, we have a questionnaire was about, because, we came up with this. This is things I thought were important to know in regards to monitoring servers and that kind of thing. So please, guys, that questionnaire out there, please fill that out so we can actually make this even better. But adding stuff, you would just do what at this point to add stuff?
So if anything, it's you just have to write the PowerShell on your local machine. On this, how I'd grab it.
Okay.
And then after you grab the information, you just basically have to assign it to the hash table.
Okay.
The same way, just the ht.add, the first part here is assigning the name. After the comma is giving the actual value.
Excellent.
So as long as you're grabbing the results, just you put it into the hash table, you can decide whatever title you want. And this just goes more to show I'm terrible at naming things, having all those spaces.
Now, just a couple of questions. Again, we went over CPU utilization. Is this an average, or is this that's what it was at the moment we ran the scan?
It's at the moment that you run it.
Okay.
Where we don't have a history and it's not technically active, it's only running as often as you scan.
Okay.
We can only grab of what it's like at that moment.
At that moment. How about memory? I know we're taking is it, again, a snapshot of what memory was at that moment?
Yep, yeah, everything in here is not going to be an ongoing thing. It's going to be what it was like at the time of your timestamp
Okay.
that it has in there. And then if you are adding something, just make sure you put it above the PS custom object hash table. The reason we do it this way is the PS custom object is what returns the cleanest results for the PowerShell scanner to make it the most usable for us. So hash table made it so I could make it ordered the way I wanted it. Converting it at the end makes it so it's readable on your side after the
To
scan.
inventory.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so now that you get the PowerShell, right, we're going to need to build a PowerShell scanner, yeah?
Yep, and I've already built this one and exported it, so I'm just going to do Control I, and we'll go through all the steps on that one.
Excellent. Import complete. I love that.
Yep.
So there's profiles called monitoring.
Yep, and if we go and look at the triggers, you can see I disabled them because I didn't want this running all this often before I went there, but this is a way where the minimum you can set is 30 minutes. So by putting multiple triggers of 30 minutes and staggering when they start, you can get it to run every 5 minutes.
So you'll notice right here, I can't highlight from here, but you'll notice the times 2, 205, 210, 215, 220,
Yep.
225. So they stagger every 30 minutes there. And so
How are they not working? Oh, I'm hitting function.
There you
we
go.
go. I hit the right key and it works.
Wow.
Those times.
love that.
All right.
Okay, so that's how, originally I'm like, oh, how do you do this every 5 minutes? Now, I got a question for you about running it every 5 minutes. I mean, is that aggressive?
Well, we have a network breakdown. I just want to go over a little bit more of the scanner before we do that
I'm
one.
sorry, man.
All right, so that's just the default, the scan profile. Now, if we're going to actually open up the scanner, you can see here it's just pointing to the PowerShell script that we just had, and then this is where you would call the variable for the services.
Very good. Can we pull that variable up real quick?
Absolutely.
Now, here's something we found in running this, right? Now, notice right now we are pulling the most important, one of the most important services out there, PDQ deploy.
Yep.
Now, and then we're pulling Spooler. Let's add one. Let's add VM tools.
And for the double quotes, I put them by habit because if you're running this in PowerShell, it will request it in that array, but where we're passing it through from the variable, it's not necessary. I'm just adding the double quotes out of habit.
Okay.
So we're talking VM tools.
VM tools. Now, you need to make sure these are spelled the way they are spelled in your services, otherwise it's going to not find it.
It's one of
gonna
those,
look
test it first, once you're sure it's right, copy it in.
Now, another question, talking about this. Let's say I run this right now, okay, and it's going to put all my services together, and then I add something again later. What happens?
So that one, it's going to keep the order of the first scan and then add everything else to the end, no matter where it grabs
gets
it.
added to the end.
So if you make any changes to this, if you want it to keep it in the same semblance of the order, you're going to have to delete the scanner and re-add it. But where there's no history on this, that's not a big loss.
deal.
It's just going to rescan after and give you the data that you want.
Excellent.
All right. And then I've lost my place where we're going next.
So
are we running it?
Should we run it?
Let's do
We got to
it.
run it. Got to get some data, right?
All right, we're going to run this on everything.
Scan,
Collection
monitoring, boom.
All right, while this is running, this is a good time to talk about the
caveats on this.
caveats. And so we have this every 5 minutes, and I worked with our network guy. His name's Austin. He wanted me to highlight the heroism that he did in making sure that he monitored all
I think
traffic.
he's got an S tattooed on his chest
Yeah,
for
he said
super.
he hand delivered some packets when they got stuck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was very thorough in his monitoring. But basically, for our test, we took 518 machines and we tested running this scan against them and how long it would take. And then we had concurrent connections of 32, 64, and 128.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to look at my sheet here because I'm not going to remember any of this.
While you're doing that, hand me the keyboard, will you?
You want the keyboard? All right.
Yeah, keyboard and mouse. Thanks. Thanks, man.
Those, yep. All right, so looking at the sheet here, for if you're running against 580 machines and you're doing 32 concurrent, which is the default when you install it, it averaged around 34 megabytes a second that it was sending out.
Okay.
And it took 16 minutes to run. That's against 518.
Okay.
And then it follows that same trend. 64 was 80 megabytes a second. It took 8, and 128. It went almost to 200 megabytes a second, but it took 4 minutes to run. So I talked to him a lot about that, and his preference, and
As a network guy.
yeah, talk to your own network guys on this one, but his preference was he would rather have a lot of data in
All
a
at
short
once.
burst over less data over an extended time. So his preference, he actually wanted me to keep on bumping it from 128. I just was hesitant to do that because you get database write errors if it goes too fast, and there's
So when we did the math, right, the breakdown was like 300 and something kilobytes per machine, was it?
310 kilobytes per machine when you're scanning this one. We also tested our default scan, and it's no difference because we're sending the scan over, the machine's running it, and it's sending data back.
Yeah.
So no matter what the scan is, that doesn't really change, just the time it takes to run is what changes.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, so now we've run the scan. Let's just go take a look at what it looks like.
Hopefully it worked, right?
Bugs Bunny, should we go take a look? Okay, PowerShell. Yeah, surprise, surprise. We already selected PowerShell, right? And we're going to go grab our monitoring table.
That's no good. Okay.
Oh, there. Like hesitation just, made my heart stop there. But here's our timestamp. Deploy service is not running on Bugs Bunny.
Does not exist.
Oh, does not exist.
Yeah.
There we go, because it is not on there.
Yep.
So there's a difference between does not exist and stopped.
Yep.
Right? Oh, there it is. VM tool service is stopped. So again, this is a very long line of data. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is let's kind of look at some trends and that kind of thing. So I wrote a report, and because it was a little bit complex to write, I'm just going to import it. Okay. So import, it's called monitoring view off of my desktop here. Right there. Okay.
Right. While we're doing this, I just want to point out what Colby said in the chat, because
Yeah.
I think it's important to get out there. He said he found a difference between order dictionary and hash table when I said there wasn't one. Apparently, order dictionary does not have the contains method, which makes it a little bit harder to search through. So order dictionary is still what I want to use in this one, but just keep an eye out that there are some differences.
There are some differences. All right, so apparently we originally named this differently, so let's just go grab the right table.
I'm gonna go through and redo
PowerShell
it.
monitoring. I think I called it monitor.
You're calling the old table, I believe.
I am calling the old table. Bad me.
You're clicking on the wrong one again.
I'm clicking on what?
Yeah.
Oh, I am. There you go. Monitoring. Phew, I got to learn how to. In here.
And it's default in the timestamp. We're going to have to redo all of this.
Let's just build it then.
All right.
All right. There's no reason for me to click through that. Let's build it. No, don't save that. All right. New report. Basic report. All right. So we're going to get the computer name. We are going to go to our new table, which is PowerShell monitoring. Boom. Right there. Now I'm going to move that up, and we're going to call it timestamp. We're going to go add. So I'm just going to go add pretty much all the data. And all I did originally when I did this for the import was I just took, it says PowerShell in front of all these. I just took that off to make it a little more readable. So timestamp, let's look at our services. We'll say spooler service. We'll look at our...
While we're going through those, it's worth noting the old table is showing up because we tested it, and then I deleted that scanner, and then I didn't optimize the database.
Okay.
If you open preferences with Control Comma and go to database, there's an optimize button, and that will remove the old table that we're seeing in there. We just didn't do that part.
All right, let's take a look. We'll pull services. We'll just grab a handful of these, right? Because otherwise you guys just sit and watch me do this. Total processes running. We will do... Let's do disk space. And I would say, you want to look at logical disk space? Or should we look at the C drive? We'll look at the C drive.
Yeah, that is logical. So,
Yeah. Oh, sorry, free disk space, yeah.
yeah, with the physical, where we have so many VMs, the physical information is going to do a lot less for us. That's just something to keep an eye on. If you're doing VM versus like regular hardware, the physical is going to give you more or less information based on that.
Okay, we'll also look at total memory and then total amount of free memory, because probably look at CPU utilization while we're at it too. Man, I'm going to come up with a bunch of great ones here.
Just
All
keep
right,
going.
I'm just going to keep it. It's all good. So
I
what was
like
that
it.
one before? Memory and then free. All right, so boom, there we go. Let's run this. I could go in here and clean this up, but we'll just run it the way it is. Boom. Should I? You know what? I'm just going to clean that up, man.
You're going to clean it up?
I am. I'm cleaning.
All right.
So while we're cleaning, do you want to explain how, we were kind of looking through, I was looking at Anagios because I'm an old Linux guy. So
Yeah, the way we did this was you opened up an Agio server that you wrote for, I believe, your uncle.
Yeah.
On what you were monitoring from when you had to do this regularly, and we tried to mimic a lot of what was there.
Yeah.
And that's where total processes came from, but we don't have specific processes in there yet. That's something that we probably need to look at for the future.
True. All right, let's run this.
Yeah, I wanted to name this Nagy Almost.
Nagy Almost?
But they wouldn't let me.
I think there's an issue with that. Okay, I'm going to kind of center this because I'm pretty sure JJ's
Is that
having
one
a
I failed
connection
on?
there. All right, so here's kind of the thing. All right, we've got our timestamp, we've got our computers, spooling service is running. I'm kind of rolling through VM's tool service, right? The nice thing about this report, which I am going to save as soon as let me just put a name on this, right? We'll call it MView, right? MView for monitoring view. Run it again. Is this, I can go in here and I can group by like the tools just to take a look to see what we've got. So I've got running, service doesn't exist. So these 8 machines here where the service doesn't exist, I imagine are physical machines. Okay.
Or ones that we stopped it on manually.
Well, no, check it out. These are the stopped ones right here. So these are virtual machines where that service is stopped. So we could target and send a command to go start those services. The other thing, I'm going to go unhide this right here. Show grouping panel. Let's get rid of that. The other thing I found really interesting when we were doing this is if we look at CPU utilization, right? And let's just, group this descending, right? So I've got, I wish you could see the machine names. We'll get there in a minute. But notice most of this stuff, there's really not a lot of CPU except for, well, that machine right there, which is Guinness. Apparently that's the one we're running on.
Yeah, we are using it, so it makes sense.
So again, and then the other one that I thought was really interesting, and this report makes it very easy to view this, is look at my processes. Most of the machines run between 40 and I'd say 100 processes with a few that exceed that. So now I can limit what I'm looking for, you know what I mean? So I don't have all this, I call it kind of white noise. It's a lot of information that really doesn't matter to me.
Yep. So the process was we built the scanner, we grabbed all the information we could think of that would be useful.
Very true.
We're using this report to kind of fine tune what we might want to keep an eye out for. And then from this, we can build collections that will warn us if anything falls outside the parameters.
I agree. Before we, excuse me, before we go on to building collections, do we want to take a question?
Sure, let's take one. Why not? We ready?
Yep.
Okay, guys, can we monitor Windows updates, specifically missing cumulative updates or critical patches via a report or perhaps a collection on machines? Thank you, Christos P.
That is a great question. And yes, you can do that. The nice thing is it's already in there for you, pre-built. So if you go to the collection library, and if I'm reading this right, he wants to know any machine that's out of whack needs an update, right? A Windows update?
So these collections, I believe, are going to find if they have the latest cumulative up. But if he's looking for a specific KB number that he wants to make sure is installed, that would require some sort of scanner.
Well, I do believe we pull KBs, right? So you would need a scanner to go look for that KB specifically. But I mean, right here, you can tell, here's my Windows 2019 machines. All 8 of these are missing currently. KB 54244. Apparently,
that's the latest cumulative. But if
is.
you're looking for a specific one, there is pre-built in the PowerShell repo that will go out and scan the machines and it'll let you know if any KBs are missing. That will help you narrow that down. And then there's 2 ways to go about that. There's an attribute that you add to, if you have a WSUS server, it'll go through and it'll query that server. If you don't, leave that off and it will just query the general internet. And that should come back with machines that are missing KBs from there. So that should help you narrow it down. That's pre-built scanner. I can't remember what we named it though in the PowerShell scanner.
hopefully one of the support guys in the chat will pop that in for us.
Just Colby already did.
Colby already did it. Love it. Notice hot fixes right here, guys. These are the hot fixes that we have been tracking on here. So that's a good place to look. May not have them all, but
so between the pre-built scanner, you should be able to at least narrow it down. And if you look through the scanner on what we're looking, you can specify a specific KB. You'd have to just make some changes to it. So all the information is there. I think you should be able to track that.
Excellent. All right. Why don't I build some collections?
All right.
All right. So first off, let's just start out. We were talking about processes, right? I want to see all the machines that have more than 100 processes, right, running, just as a good kind of a temperature gauge, right? Because again, so we want, and we'll just call this greater than 100 processes, right? Wow, what a original name that is, huh?
And like I said, naming is more difficult. I would say naming variables is more difficult than actual PowerShell.
I would agree with that. We had a debate yesterday on what to name the table, and we came up with like 3 or 4 things, and then finally JG's like, guys, knock it off. Just name it what it is.
Stop being clever, or stop trying to be clever.
total processes.
Sorry, guys.
Greater than, yeah, quit being clever. What, our clever never works anyways, right? Okay, greater than 1,000, that's not gonna work. Should I, yeah, greater than 100. Boom, all right. So I've got 11 machines that are all running processes, more than 100 processes. Surprise, surprise, check this out. They all happen to be Breaking Bad, which means those are the machines that are processing this web show right now, I'd imagine.
Yeah, if you're looking at the icon there, all but 3 of those are not VMs, they're physical machines.
Guinness is a VM, Site 22, and then BDC. You know, it's interesting. The other thing I found was, well, let's just pop that report up real quick again, because I found something else interesting. Did I grab disk temperature? I didn't. Let's just go add that, because it's interesting to see, like, if you add disk temperature in here, well, we'll just show you. It's much easier, right? So disk temperature. Last one. I'm going to go edit that.
Oh, you're still getting it fixed it up. The nice one about this one is I had no idea how to even approach this. And Brock wrote the blog on it, so I just had to go sample his work. It was very nice.
Okay, so I'm just I'm sorting by disk temperature. Okay, so notice all these don't have VMware tools running on it, so these are physical machines. So obviously, virtual disk does not have temperature, or at least the virtual disk itself. The actual physical disk does, but so
that one comes in handy for if you have physical machines that have run hot in the past. Being
Yeah.
able to say if it ever gets over this temperature, let me know.
There you go. Again, you could just go and say, looks like a reasonable temperature right now is, I don't know, is that Celsius, 29 Celsius, 29?
My laptop is always way hotter than that.
At any rate, you kind of get a school of thumb here, or at least a
school of thumb. Yep.
School of thumb.
A baseline.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, anytime I say school of thumb, it equals baseline. So this
Are you trying to write an alias on the fly?
I'm trying not to look as big of an idiot as I
You're not
normally
making
feel.
me confident that I'm going to be able to learn this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
Colby
think
says that's Celsius, not Fahrenheit.
Celsius. Thank you, Colby. And
I think I found your next variable name too.
school of thumb.
School of thumb. You know what? The next time I write PowerShell for webcast, school
There's
of thumb
school
is
of
going to be a
thumb.
variable.
Stop
there.
it.
You guys-
Stop it.
I hate you all. All right, so now that I've gone down that rabbit hole and embarrassed myself, let's take a look at machines. Let's take a look at any machines we'll say that have less than, I don't know, disk space. Probably ought to look at that report again and see what our disk space looks like. This is a nice thing about this report is I can go in here and say, 26% free. Most everybody, I would say anything under 30%, because most everything's above that, right? Is something I probably need to keep an eye on, right? Just from this report. So again, nice and easy. We want less than 30% disk space, right?
Yeah. And we have built collections based on this with our standard scan that has this, and those are still absolutely valid. This is just, instead of running every 7 days like the standard scan, this is one if you want to be a bit more active in the monitoring.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to run this again in a minute, see if any of these change.
Okay.
Which would be kind of fun, but was it disk? Hello. Disk free, there it is.
There you go.
Less than,
Once again, my naming comes out.
less than,
I put a lot of spaces in there to
less
make
than
it hard to
300,
filter
wow.
by.
Less than 300% free.
Yeah. Well, no, because it says
Shut.
percent
There
free.
we go. I'm glad somebody. Don't let me type. Don't let me think. Don't let me come up with new variables. Okay, the school of thumb on this one.
Okay.
School of Rock.
School of Rock. That's right. So I got 3 machines that have less than 30% disk space available. Again, something I can monitor. Eventually, and maybe next week, we'll show you how to automatically remediate some of this stuff. Could that be a teaser?
Yeah, we have a couple ideas on. This is basically the start. How do you collect it? We have a couple ideas on how to make this pretty great, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. So that's kind of some ideas, guys, on how to do that. Do you want to take a question at this point? I mean, I can keep building collections, but the more I get ridiculed, the less I feel like doing it. So,
Well, we have one that is kind of semi-relevant, I would think. All right. Guys, do you have an easy way to check on Hyper-V replication status? Sincerely, Captain Kern J.
PowerShell?
Partial. So if you wanted to include the VMware replication status with a baseline, I would recommend maybe making a different scanner that focuses just on your machines that handle that replication. because running this command is only valid against the machines that are handling the replication. And so there's a couple of caveats. The two commands mostly, and you can build on it from this. It's a measure VM replication, which I think lets you know how far along the process is, as well as get replication, which will track machines that currently are replicating.
Okay.
That's
That's as far as you got into
those
that?
commands might be a little bit different than I'm saying. I haven't really spent a lot of time with Hyper-V, but those are the two commands that will let you dive into it. But you only want to run those against machines that are running the replication
Okay.
action. And the other part is, how do we collect that data? If we do it like we did the service or the physical drive, where it does a different column for each one, if you're replicating to 70 machines, it's going to make 70 columns, and the next time you run it, those columns won't be valid. It's going to be messy. So
Yeah.
it might be better just to capture all of those and just in your PS custom object have the result be an array where it contains all the machines that are replicating as well as the percentage. You can do it with that one. I'd recommend it be its own scanner, and you're going to want to spend a lot of time fine-tuning that.
True. Now, I want to add one more thing. Jake, can we pull up the... I just want to show you how to limit what this runs against, because this is a great scanner. Again, we talked about the effect on your network, how long it takes to run. Let's say you only wanted to run this on servers. Okay, you can go select your servers collection or build your own specifically, right? There's servers, so I can just run it against all my servers, okay, and limit where that gets run. So there's that. And, you know, I promised we'd kick this off again to see if anything changed. So I just want to go in here. We've got 11 machines that have 100 plus process, more than 100 processes. Let's just scan everything again and see if that changes. I mean, it may not.
We're kind of just hoping.
You know what I could do? I could start a video in the background and should we do that?
One instance of Chrome is a lot of process.
One
I think
instance of
Guinness
Chrome,
is
let's
already
do
in
it.
that collection. I'm not sure if
Here
that's
we
going to
go.
work.
Is Guinness already in there? I don't think it was. Okay, we'll go to YouTube.
There's a quick way to check.
Look.
Yeah.
Let's see if this is going to do anything. Yep, never mind. Guinness is in there. That's not going to affect. Shut up.
So
man.
remote into
Shoot,
bugs.
Okay, Bugs Bunny will do it. Bugs Bunny. And kick off a...
We'll hope this works. That's the nice thing about Chrome is it kicks off so many processes.
All right, Bugs Bunny. Come on, Bugs.
We don't have that one pre-built in there? I was going to say...
It is, but then I got impatient and started typing again. All right, we'll kick off a YouTube on bugs. I'm going to shut down Chrome here, but we should see bugs change. Okay, boom, YouTube. We're just going to grab whatever video comes up first, as long as it's appropriate,
I'm
right?
just glad I'm not logged into Chrome on Bugs Bunny. No one needs to see what I'm YouTubing.
What you're YouTubing? Right.
It's a lot of Celine Dion.
Is it Celine Dion? I'm going to... Okay, YouTube. Hopefully this
did
doesn't
it.
play a bunch of music, right?
We
All right.
made it.
Let's see. Ooh, here we go. We'll do the Mike Tyson goes nuts on these guys. Okay. Dismiss. All right. Now let's go run that scan again on all computers.
Watch it still not put it over 100.
Oh, it'll do it, dude. You know it will. Monitoring. Boom. There it
We'll
goes.
see. I'm not a believer.
You're not a believer?
I'm not a believer.
I'm a believer. Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's got to spawn up a lot of processes, doesn't he?
Perhaps. Did I just see like a whole shifting view on the camera there?
Was there a shifting view?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was my fault. Sorry, I'm trying to get your camera to work again.
Oh.
Oh.
You know what? I'm going to not call attention to
Not
that.
Oh
then.
no, you didn't
No,
need to. It was pretty obvious.
Yeah, it was very obvious.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, you're all good.
All right. Scan's running.
Yeah, so luckily we're in against 518 with those time frame with 58 machines. It should be really quick.
Check it out. Bugs Bunny made it.
Oh, look at that. You did it.
Boom.
You made it.
It made it.
So now this will let you know who's running YouTube. I'm joking.
Well, the funny thing is it's still at 11, so somebody else dropped off.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah. But
yeah,
Bugs Bunny made it this time.
Yeah, so if this was running every 5 minutes, which at 58 machines we absolutely could,
Yeah.
it really does give you a pretty accurate up-to-date time within a pretty compact time frame.
True.
And that's where I think this has more value for servers than it does for workstations.
Yeah.
So if you want to run this more often and get more accurate, up-to-date data, I would recommend limiting it to servers because that's where it really matters the most, and you're not really worried so much about work. I mean, you have to worry about some things.
I might
but
add your machine in there just so I can keep track of what you're doing and just build a static collection.
most of the
what I
Mike
want.
Tyson videos on YouTube.
Mike Tyson's video, yeah. So let me just add this for you guys who are watching next week. we were talking about history. Jordan and I figured it out. And when I say Jordan and I figured it out, Jordan figured it out.
I actually, for the first time, I'm not going to agree with that because I had a whole bunch of ideas that were complex and would take me a long time, and you gave me the idea on how to make it like an instant turnaround.
Oh.
So after your idea, it took under an hour to get it to function, but everything I was working beforehand wasn't working. So you can say that, but I wouldn't have been able to write it without your input.
Oh, I'm blushing. So, guys, if you have any ideas for other things you want to monitor, please fill out those questionnaires so that we'll look at them and see what we can come up with to add for next week. Along with, we're going to do a little history. We're going to do some auto remediation. So, if these services are stopped, we're going to show you how to automatically start those. Make it real simple for you that way. I guess at this point, you want to do a speed round for questions?
Yeah, let's do a speed round. All right. Gentlemen, can you get the, what is that, ILO IP address using PDQ inventory? Hainer G.
If I hadn't already, drunk all of my scotch, I'd be drinking right now because I'm not sure what an ILO IP address is. Off the top of my head, I'm drawing a blank, so I don't know. I'm sorry.
I think it's an HP thing.
Yeah, I'm going to go with
integrated
Jordan on
lights
that
out.
one. Except I do have some scotch left. That's
Yeah,
a good
no,
question.
I'm
We'll have to take a
sorry.
look afterwards and see
Yeah,
if we
that's
can
one
come up
I
with
have to
something.
research.
So, sorry, stumped.
Yeah.
Guys,
Chump's
do you not
drinking.
have Google right there?
I don't have a mouse. That's Lex's fault.
Next question, please, before it gets to be too much more.
All right. All right, here we go. Guys, we are running in client-server mode. Where should I put the Git repository? Thank you, Matt Ohl.
I'd put that on a server, wouldn't you?
Yeah, if you only put it on the server, I'm not sure if you'd have to download it to each location or if it's grabbing from one central repo, then the GitHub can just go there. But if each one has their own location, you're probably going to have to download it to all of them.
As a rule of thumb, you'd probably want to put it on the server. Yeah.
Yeah, so if it's on the server and everyone else has access to that path, it should work out for you.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Plan on releasing a script to fix the Syrian vulnerability? Ryan E.
I would imagine if there's a way to do it from a script, I wouldn't see why we wouldn't, but
I believe Brock put this out yesterday.
did he?
Yeah, so he goes over how to build a collection to track machines that are vulnerable,
Okay.
as well as the fix for it. And basically what that is removing inheritance and deleting your old volume shadow copies.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Microsoft.
Is
Sorry,
it
go
pronounced Serious Sam? Is
Yes.
It like
Yeah, no, that is what they
It's a
mean.
video
Dr.
game.
Seuss
Yep.
a Dr. Seuss character?
And for the last question, Kobe just pointed out I was wrong. It only needs to be on the server. There you go. I was
Yeah.
wrong.
In your face.
Yeah, so for that one, Brock did a blog that will help you track it and remediate those that are still at risk.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. And our final question of the day, this actually probably goes to JJ. I know this has been asked before, but what program do you use for mouse highlighting? Jeremy G.
I don't remember.
Was it Epic Pen?
Yeah,
Is that what
I
it
think
was?
it's Epic Pen.
Yeah, it is
Epic
Epic
Pen
Pen.
and auto hotkey to kick off Epic Pen when we need it.
Yep.
We do have a script. We could probably release that, but it's
I know every time I threaten to uninstall Epic Pen, all I get is a middle finger from JJ. Don't touch.
All right, so I'm seeing that they're not seeing that blog yet. I know I got the draft for that. If that's not published, I will work on getting that published as soon as possible.
we
Yeah.
may have not put it out yet.
Yeah,
it's there.
But it will
he,
be,
He put
yeah.
it up for review, so it should be good to go. So keep an eye out for that. We'll get that up as soon as possible for everybody.
Absolutely.
Jenna, if you're watching.
There you go.
Well, that's the last question.
Oh, was it?
Well, I think we went out on a high note, maybe. On a note?
As high of note as we get.
The note may have cracked a little, but it was pretty high.
Was it high? Okay, guys, again, next week, and I can't tell you, this is awesome. We got history next week. Not only can you use history for what we're going to do, you can take that and use it in other places you might want to collect history. So we'll have some PowerShell for you next week with that. We're going to show you auto remediation. I'm sure you probably already figured it out, but we'll have some out there for you for that next week. And I really appreciate you guys watching. I'm Lex.
I'm Jordan, PQ.
Catch you guys later.
Thanks for joining our webcast. Congratulations, Ryan E. and Matt L., winners of PDQ swag. Send us your info at webcast@pdq.com. Thanks again for joining us, and we will see you back here again next week.